Hello everyone, I'm Devrasad Mishra, your project manager. I welcome you all to the kickoff of our project Blue SaaS, also known as Software as Service System. Agenda for the day: we'll be going through the project background. Why do we need this project? What are the difficulties we will be achieving after implementation of this project? The project approach, timeline, the constraints and the assumptions that we'll be having in implementing this project, the roles and responsibilities of our major stakeholders and shareholders, the project governance, the next step, what would exactly be happening after the kickoff of this project, followed by the questions that we'll be having from our stakeholders. Let's start with background. So why do we need Project Blue SaaS? Why do we need it so urgently? So we are having this project to improve our portfolio management, making informed decisions, having clarity over the risk and opportunity that we come across. So right now all these steps are being handled by various parties, which makes it more complex. The system is really complex and it actually contradicts our motivation, our values. The decisions are currently made on the power basis. Who has power on whom makes the decision. So to overcome these difficulties, the complexity, Unilever have actually focused on the 5 major goals to be achieved. So the first goal is deploying an improvised process in order to attain increased speed in the market. So what exactly it means? It means that a project after getting into the market is being delayed. It means from the start of the project to the end of the project, the time required to be says 3 months, but we are delivering it in 5 months. That 2 months is causing our project to be impacted. Our profits are going down. So to improve this, SaaS graphical methodology management technology would help us a lot. Reducing error in artwork management. Artwork management over here implies over the technical field. It means to say that architecture that we have across the technological parties is not constant. Every other team has a different architecture, which causes it really complex over the system if a project has to transfer from one team to another team. Achieving a single global organization. It means we should have a common platform. It means if an employee is logging from China or from USA or from Asia, any part of Asia would go through all the same steps which the person is logging from anywhere else. Also to make sure that the decision making is been horizontal rather than vertical, which makes it more easier over the period of time for achieving our project goals. Last but not the least, identifying and reporting the insufficiency in the process, which would help us actually gain the market strength, the confidence of the market that we can achieve whatever delayed has been done or whatever error we have gone across, we would be overcoming through our coming development. Let's move forward to the next step. That is our project approach. We'll be having 6 phases in our project, which starts from planning, blueprint, realization, migration, go live, and support. So what exactly are the phases? The first phase would be secure agreement with the stakeholders. So over here, me along with a business analyst, we would come across with a business requirement document. We would have all the requirements be documented, a mock-up screen, and for which we would be having one-on-one session with the stakeholders, and we would be having one-on-one interviews with them, and finally we would be having a BRD walkthrough, that is business requirement document walkthrough. And after the agreement of all of our stakeholders, we would be having a sign off over our BRD. Phase 2, that is order install equipment, which basically means creating the environment for the development, which is if we require a new database to be set up, new Oracle database, new Informatica team has to be set up, or we need like 3 or 4 more Informatica people coming around, or whatsoever is required, we would be taking that care in the second step or the second phase. Then comes installation and testing software. Over here, the development of the system would take place. So there would be simultaneous development as well as testing of the software that has to be launched. Stage 4 is conducting hardware and software testing. So this over here, it would be more of business testing. So business user would be given the system to test. They would be going through the stress testing, and exactly the same scenarios would be given over the software that would actually be faced when it goes live. Then we would go to phase 5, which is conducting trainings. So we would be giving training to our end users. We would be telling them how exactly the system works, what exactly has to be done, and the steps to be followed. And then our system SaaS would be live. So when are we going to finish all these 6 phases? That's our project timeline. So we will be starting in almost second week of January, and and we're supposed to complete it by the end of November. So over here you can see requirement. So it's the sign off of the BRD that I was talking about. The scope is defined, then the design stage takes place, where the software team comes in and the IT teams come in. They will say like, okay, this is the requirement, this is what we need, this is how exactly it's going to happen, and then which would take around 2.5 months, because if it needs a new infrastructure, it would take time to get it set up, getting all proper authorities to give us the access, which would take time. Then the building stage takes place, where our software developers and tester would work simultaneously and get the work done. It would take us around 1 to 1.5 months to build across. We would be following agile methodology over here. So we would be having PSPI, that is a small product, a small deliverable being developed in every 2 weeks of sprint. And then we'll be having implementation around end of November. Throughout the phase of building and implementation, we would be going through testing. So there will be series of testing. We would be also having stress testing. We would be having UI testing. We will be giving our end user opportunity to just go through and have a rough look over the system to see what exactly it is. So we will be going across to all of those phases before implementation. And we plan to achieve this by end of implementation. That is end of November. Let's move forward with the project assumptions. What are the assumptions that we'll be having? A major assumption would be management will ensure that the project teams are available, which means as soon as the BRD has been finalized, we will be starting having interviews, hiring the new technical people for this project. The steering committee will participate timely for the project plan, which also means like as soon as the BRD is signed off, it doesn't mean the role of the stakeholder has been completed. We need approval of stakeholders if there is any question raised by the technical team, if the BRD is not been clearly specified, or if when we are showing a UI to our end user and they say, this is not what we want, so there is a change. So over there we would be needing meeting with our stakeholders, steering committee to overcome this difficulty. Then the next point would be failure in identifying the changes. As I mentioned, if while having the BRD walkthrough, if a stakeholder say he agrees over the BRD walkthrough, he gives the BRD to walkthrough a sign off. The BRD has been walked through, it's been signed off. The project is started in development phase. When a developer develops it, it's been tested and it's been showed into the end user, and the end user comes back saying that this is not what we want. So over there we would be having a conflict. So over there we would be needing some specific time allotted for that particular change to be implemented and overcoming those difficulties. Also, there would be a proper communication plan that has to be followed all across the team and would be taking care of from the project initialization to the implementation. Also, the next point would be all the project participants will be aided and guided and identified within this project plan. Everyone would be walked through the project plan, its importance and its timeline within which it has to be achieved. So moving forward is our project constraint. We have right now acquired 2 constraints that we think we would be coming across. The first is availability of resources. As everyone knows, the good resources are hard to find. So pulling them from a particular project is difficult. So availability of the resource might be a constraint, as it's really difficult to get good resources. Also project funding, which is really limited, and there is no contingency plan to overcome if the funding has been cut. So moving forward is our project governance. So for project governance, we'll be following Unityverse management framework, a Unityverse standard management framework within which our project decisions are being made. So we'll be following the standard 5 points. First is assist in strategic planning within the campus partners to ensure the alignment of the desired success criteria of the project delivery, which we are going through right now. Second, leverage of the centralized project workspace to collaborate with the project team and stakeholders. So we would be having a rally through which all the requirements has been documented, and over there all the project stakeholders and our major team holders would be given the access through, and they can go through all the requirements, and that would be our common workspace through which all the teams have been collaborated. Providing standard planning, scheduling and reporting control. That would be our PPM tool, which I'll be building as soon as our requirements are been finalized. We would be having weekly meetings across the project managers to know what exactly has been developed and what are the difficulties they are facing and how can we overcome them. Also storing storing the documents in the centralized repository. So apart from Rally, we would also be storing all the requirement documents in our standard portfolio shared drive, over which we would be having our requirements documents, our requirements specification documents, which would be including the technical teams input, what exactly has to be built and what are the requirements for the technical team, and so on. Moving forward, we were having roles and responsibilities. So our major role of this project would be our project sponsor, that is Steve Anston and George Smith. They would be our tiebreakers. So any constraint that we're going through, and for example, say I've been asked to make a UI which would show an XYZ responsibility and it's showing ABC. So if a tech member says it says ABC and a business user says it has to show XYZ, so there is the tie. So first we'll go to the first we'll go to our stakeholders, and if they are unable to resolve that conflict will again be escalated to project sponsor. They are the one who would be overcoming such tiebreakers. Then our project participants. So over here we would be having our directors, our project managers, our technical team leaders, our technical team members who would be taking care of the project overall, as well as PPM project managers who would be also handling our financial funding and where the money is going and where exactly how much fund do we have, and how can, if there is if the funds are getting less and we require more, so how exactly we overcome this particular issue or constraint. As well as we would also have our IT department, where we are planning to have 3 developers and 2 testers, which we have yet to finalize. We also might have 2 additional Informatica developers, which would helping us to load the data in the database and extracting whensoever we need it. So this is all for the day, and I would like to know if there are any questions. I would be happy to answer. Thank you.